Richard, tell me, how did you get into coaching in the first place?
Omer, I would have been a budding sportsman many years ago, and I would have had a full head of hair in those days. I started off as a kid. My passion would have been football. As a young lad, growing up in the northeast of England, I grew up in Newcastle, and so what we all grew up with was football, because it's a football crazy town. And then I got introduced to cricket and rugby. I went to a school where they were the two primary sports, and they were brand new, and I really enjoyed them. They didn't play soccer at the school, so I started playing rugby, which I really enjoyed. And summer was cricket and swimming and athletics. And so it was probably about that time Australia were over on tour. And Dennis Lilly was the opening bowler for Australia.
Wow.
And I started watching it on TV, and I was just mesmerized, primarily by Dennis Lilly, you know, this larger-than-life character who would run up and bowl quick and terrorize the English batters, and he had this great Zapata mustache. It was the 1970s, so, you know, all the shirts had big collars, and his shirt undone down to his navel with his hairy chest, and you don't see any of that stuff nowadays with the clothing being so conservative. And he really was, other than being, you know, arguably, there are many great fast bowlers, but he would genuinely be one of the greatest of all time. But he was like a real pantomime character. I don't mean that in any way, in a condescending way. It's just that he was larger than life.
Absolutely.
And it was just riveting. And so, you know, I would have started watching cricket, and we played a bit of cricket in the back lane, and I joined a cricket club as a kid, and so we spend the summers down at the cricket ground, and I just fell in love with cricket, and so I would have continued to play through my teenage years. I would have played soccer and rugby, and when I got older, my two passions were rugby and cricket, and they both went very well. And then, unfortunately, when I was in my late teens, I was involved in a car accident, and slowly but surely, that accident started to have an impact. And I ended up having a whole host of sports-related injuries that came from that. And eventually, I was in my early 20s, and I went up to my cricket was, by that stage, was going very well.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity of going up and starting the season with one of the counties in England, and I got injured straight away, which was a recurring injury. And took a season to get that diagnosed, and I had an operation, and then I missed that year, and then I recouped in the winter, and I went back up, and I had and I repeated the injury, and I had to have another operation.
Oh,
and by this stage, it was about 2 years gone, and, you know, I hadn't had any income. I'd finished university. I needed to move on with my life. So I shelved my cricket playing aspirations, and I'd been doing a postgrad in education.
Yeah.
And I decided that I wanted to express my love of sport, my love of cricket through coaching. And so I got certified, and it was 1991, and I wanted to go and get experience.
Yeah.
So, and South Africa was opening up, and it was the end of apartheid, so I wanted to go out and have a look at the place. And I rode away and got an opportunity to get a job in South Africa coaching. And I came out to South Africa, and I loved it. And I got great opportunities, and the players that I coached did well, and the teams did well. And so that's how it started.
That's awesome. That's kind of unfortunate as well that you had an accident. You went through so much from an injury perspective. But what I really love about your story, Richard, is the fact that you didn't lose touch with your true love, which is sports, right? And you channeled that love, if not through through playing the sport, but through coaching it then instead, right? And I think that's really important, to stay connected to that true love, the true passion,